Hi, and welcome to the daily reading for June the 13th, which actually would have been my mother's 91st birthday if she was still with us. So the reading is from Each Day a New Beginning, Daily Meditations for Women, which can apply to anybody, not just women. So June 13th starts with a quote from Dr. Anne Faraday. Everyday life confronts us with new problems to be solved, which force us to adjust our old programs accordingly. Facing the day straight on is occasionally difficult to do. There are those days we feel like crawling under the covers and staying there, certain that we can't handle whatever might be asked of us. Maybe today is one of those days. Perhaps we feel 12 years old instead of 42. To consciously behave like a responsible 42-year-old is out of the question. Acting as if is the next best thing, the program tells us, and it is. Acting as if also comes in handy when only a minor kink interferes with the day's progression. Most problems don't fit an easy solution or a familiar one. However, most problems are dispensed with by seeing them as opportunities for creative response, calmly seeking guidance and then moving ahead slowly, being aware of the effects of our actions. Today and every day, I will have an opportunity to think creatively and to rely on my inner guide. Instead of dreading the unfamiliar, I will be glad for it. It's moving me ever closer to understanding life's mysteries. Sorry, I had a little bit of a stutter there at the end because I am not someone who is glad for the unfamiliar. Let me just say that. I'm kind of a dreader of the unfamiliar. Yeah, in some ways. It's actually, yeah, in some ways. In the minutiae, I'm a dread. But in the bigger scheme, I love adventure. So I will go for the big adventure. But the little minutiae of life, that sometimes can leave me with that dread of the unfamiliar. What is going to happen? Who's going to say what? And it probably is linked to my insecurities of who I am still, even after all these years. There's still a little bit of insecurity about how I will handle. Maybe it's back to that perfectionism again. How will I handle that unfamiliar? Will I be enough to cope with it? Will people judge me for it? We don't like judgment. Humans don't like to be judged by others. It's one of my biggest kind of dreads, is that someone is out there judging me or talking about me in some way, shape, or form. Even though I would love you to share my YouTube channel and say, go on and listen to this woman. She's sometimes very bonkers, but sometimes she makes sense. And I know that I'm doing this because I'm doing it for me, but I'm also doing it for the one or two people who might tune into this video. So everyday life confronts us with new problems to be solved, which force us to adjust our old programs accordingly. And we all have these old programs, ones that were, if we think of ourselves as being computers, we were programmed as children, usually. I think most of us were programmed as children by society, by our parents, by our schools, by our churches. We were fed the information that they wanted us to absorb, that they wanted us to believe. And I think there's a lot of mental health issues go on because the programming that we are being fed, even as children, especially now with all the social media stuff that goes on, all the programming that's being fed to us doesn't feel right. But as children, you don't know what that feeling is. You don't know why you're feeling bad about that information. Not necessarily, but it's affecting your mental health. It's certainly affecting your emotions, and your emotions will bounce your mental health. So it's difficult, but we need to be very careful as adults to not force our opinions on children. We can give them our opinions, but we cannot make them believe that our opinions are the truth. We have to be careful on that because we don't always know the truth. We know our truth, but our truth might not be their truth. And I think that's something I'm very passionate about, is as a parent myself, that I don't force my opinions on my children. I maybe did when they were younger, before I did all my work that I have done. I maybe, I was, I was one of those parents who thought I knew better, but now, because of all the work I've done with myself and trying to unload and reprogram myself from all my childhood programming, I realize the damage that I probably did, hopefully in the short term, because I've spoken about it with them, again and again, about, my truth not necessarily being the truth, and apologizing for forcing that down their throats when they were little. And I've totally digressed because I got passionate about my parenthood thoughts. It's after 5 minutes and I need to close. Okay, bye now.